Alrighty everybody, welcome back for another class. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today for our Yoga for Beginners number 3. Continuing our series today. These do not need to be done sequentially, however I do recommend doing that for a strong foundation. However, today we will start in our easy pose Sukhasana, cross-legged in the center of our mat. Most important part of our practice today will be flowing with the breath, moving with the inhales and exhales, finding your rhythm, maybe a little bit slower or faster than mine. However, important to note that if I say, for example, breathing in, arms up, that doesn't mean you have to be breathing in and lifting the arms up right when I say that. That just means when you reach that portion of the movement, that is when to breathe. It could be slower than me, it could be faster than me, but the most important part is using your breath to find your practice. I'm just here to develop a guideline for you. You can stray a little bit to the side one way or the other, making this your own. That being said, staying in easy pose Sukhasana for just another round of breaths. Before we get started with our seated torso circles, Kundalini circles, we'll get started going clockwise, hands on the knees, moving with your breath. Inhaling and exhaling, flowing forward and around and back. Sits bones may come up as you're rotating, that is perfectly fine. Sitting on a block if that's accessible as well. No props are required, but if you want to incorporate them, feel free. Continuing these circles. And one more round before we go ahead and switch sides, going counterclockwise now. Just switching your inhales and exhales for the opposite motion. Continuing to flow, getting ready to sink into this practice. We have an awesome one for you today, opening up the body, a very restorative practice, working up to our downward facing dog. That would be our peak pose today. Work on that, work on opening up the body. This is a short practice, but a very, very thorough one. And just a few more rounds here, continuing to circle. Before finishing up this last round, meeting in a neutral seated position. We'll be working to our seated cat-cow pose next, maintaining sits bones on the ground. As you inhale, lift the gaze, open the heart, bring the hands towards the hips, and exhaling, moving hands towards knees, rounding the upper back, looking towards your navel as you flow back and forth, continuing to move in your cat and cow. Whatever pace is best for you, slower or faster, finding that natural and smooth rhythm. Making this practice your own as you flow back and forth. Inhaling, lifting the gaze, hands towards hips, open the heart, exhaling in reverse. Hands towards knees, dropping the gaze, rounding the back. And continuing here for a few more rounds of breath. As you breathe in next, arms come up. Exhale, right hand, maybe right forearm down, left arm up and over the head. Any amount of bend is okay here. Breathing into your left side body. Trying to keep sits bones anchored to the ground, one not lifting higher than the other. As you breathe in, coming up, arms out wide, exhaling, left hand, maybe left forearm down, right arm up and over the head, breathing into that right side body. Keeping your gaze towards the side of the room, trying not to look down, keeping your chest opening up. Maybe inhaling, opening that rib cage out to the ceiling a little bit, exhaling, bringing that right arm further down. Otherwise, rotating on to face the short end of the mat, left leg out straight, right ankle on left knee as you go ahead and lift that left leg up, left sole of the foot flat on the ground for our sitting swan pose, Upavista Hamasana. Stretching into that right hip, hands behind you. You can intensify the stretch by bringing the left knee closer towards the body, or you can let off a little bit by extending your left leg away. Trying to keep right foot flexed, maintain a safe knee. Otherwise, any subtle movements that feel good for you before we switch. Right leg straight and down, left ankle on right knee, lifting those legs up, right sole of the foot on the ground for that sitting swan. Rocking back and forth, any little movements that feel good for you here. Again, making this practice your own. Go ahead and take one more round of breath here before bringing both soles of the feet to the ground, both feet towards the outsides of the mat. We'll be moving into our seated windshield wiper pose. Slowly moving both knees to the right, getting them as close as is comfortable. Before breathing in, left knee coming up, followed by the right knee coming up and switching sides, dropping both knees towards the left. Nice slow movements here, really getting into those hips, unlocking the joints, showing your body some love. And opening back up, left leg coming up, followed by the right, coming towards the left side of the mat. And again, right knee coming up on the inhale, left knee following to the right. Nice slow windshield wiper for us before coming into our deer pose. Left leg in front of you in a 90-degree angle, right leg out to the side at a 90-degree angle. You can either lean backwards or lean forwards over that front leg, whatever is most comfortable. Trying to keep left knee anchored to the ground. Might be a little space under your right sits bone, that's okay. If you're using a mat, using that as a guideline, long edge of the mat, keeping your left thigh and right shin parallel. As you maintain left knee on the ground, start to open up the right knee, opening it up, closing it back down, opening it up and back down, getting some movement into the joints. Before coming in to our half pigeon pose, left knee behind left hand, left foot closer towards the hips as your right leg is straight out behind you, folding forward and down. Staying up for the half pigeon or folding forward and down for the sleeping swan. And staying here for 5 rounds of breath. Unlocking that left hip, breathing into the space you're creating, showing your body some love. Before coming back up, moving into our second side deer pose. Your right leg will be in front of you at a 90-degree angle, left leg 90-degree angle out towards your side, and again the option to lean back to intensify or lean forward over that front leg, whichever is most appropriate for your body today. Listening to your body, trusting your body. As you start to open up and windshield wiper that left knee, keeping right knee on the ground, opening it up back and forth, open and close. Before coming into our half pigeon pose, right knee behind right hand, right foot closer towards the hip, left leg straight out behind you, and staying up for the half pigeon pose, or maybe folding all the way down if that's accessible today for your sleeping swan pose. Sinking into this practice, into this pose, no tension in the neck, jaw, shoulders, letting any stress in the hips melt into the ground, allowing the nervous system to relax, tapping into the parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system. Just a few more rounds of breath here. Before coming up, we'll be moving to our puppy dog pose, Uttanasana Shirshasana, moving through our tabletop, hips over knees, arms crawling out in front of you towards the top edge of the mat. Have a straight line from wrists to hips, forehead in the direction of the ground, maybe chin on the ground if that is accessible for you, but no pain in the neck. Melting the heart toward the mat. Stretching into this pose, letting the upper back become spacious and open. Energetic through the hands, maybe resting forearms on the ground if you'd like. And bringing our legs up for dolphin pose, palms and forearms on the ground, shoulders moving in the direction of your elbows, trying to align over. Otherwise, exhaling into downward facing dog, working into this pose, Adho Mukha Svanasana. You can pedal through the feet, opening through the back, pushing through the hands up into the hips towards the sky as you press down into the heels. Making sure you maintain an open back. This is first and foremost a back opener, as well as an amazing inversion. And seeing how this feels for your body if you've never done a downward facing dog. Maybe this is your first, maybe not. As you crawl your hands back towards your feet, coming into a halfway lift on the inhale. As you exhale, folding forward and down, our standing forward fold pose, Uttanasana. And feel free to clasp opposite elbows, let your arms dangle, or if you're feeling flexible, maybe grabbing the backs of your legs or your ankles. Any bend in the knees is absolutely okay here. Bend them enough to drape your stomach over your thighs. Exploring with what feels good for your body. As we hang out here, the hard work is done. It's time to relax. Enjoy this practice. As you breathe in, halfway lift, exhaling, dropping the hips to our yogi squat, garland pose, malasana. I'm moving to the center of the mat just for the camera, but you can maintain where you are. Sitting in this squat, I know it can be very uncomfortable. Feel free to put a block under the hips if necessary. This is such a healthy position for you to be in. Your body loves this, especially if you exercise elsewhere. Being able to maintain a bodyweight squat is absolutely necessary. Elbows can push to the insides of the knees, hands at prayer at heart center, and sinking into this practice. Enjoying the moment. There's nothing but you and the mat right now. No responsibilities or obligations quite yet. Before dropping onto your bottom, soles of the feet coming together for our bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. Maybe bouncing the knees a little bit, moving into the fascia, into the hip sockets, allowing that fluid to spread around, movement coming into the body. Arms softly engage, fingers interlocked at toes, outer edges of your feet on the floor with an active arch. Your heels closer towards the perineum, closer towards your body to intensify this, moving your heels further away if you need to let off a little bit. This is our last pose before Shavasana, our final resting pose. And on your next breath out, coming down to your back, rolling one vertebrae at a time, taking up space, letting your legs and feet fall out to the side, palms facing up on the mat next to you, feeling the support of the ground beneath you, thanking yourself for this practice, thanking yourself for making the time to improve, to get better, to become healthier. You are doing amazing. You've earned this Shavasana. We're not here for much longer, maybe 90 seconds. So enjoy it while it lasts. Feel free to pause if you'd like a longer one. Otherwise, I will wake you up when it's time to finish. Wiggling fingers and toes, coming back to your body. Maybe stretching arms up above your head, pointing the toes for a deep stretch before rolling onto one side and coming up. Thanking yourself for this practice. I know I thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Otherwise, I can't wait to see you on the next one, and have a blessed day. Namaste.